What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the most important NYCFC talk show. That is right. It's time again for the Dudes in Blue, episode number 159. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, Joe Amato, and alongside me, as always,
Antonino. Dude, what's up?
well, dude, it's been an interesting week. We've got a phenomenal game to talk about tonight. Absolutely phenomenal game. We've got a not-so-phenomenal game that happened last night that we'll probably talk about later on in the episodes. We'll talk about a lot of stuff, but mainly a lot of NYCFC this week, mainly because there's like 12 games this week and very little time to cover it.
So much going on.
So we're gonna dive into the NYCFC versus Philly game from Saturday night, which was absolutely fantastic, an absolutely phenomenal game to watch, or a phenomenal second half, I guess you could say. Absolutely great result for the boys. We'll talk a little bit about U.S. men's national team, maybe wrap up a little bit with a little bit of Women's World Cup talk. But we're gonna just kind of like dive into it here, dude. I think we have to.
Agreed.
Hey, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dudes in Blue. That's how you get a hold of us. Let me just say a couple of quick hellos to the Dudes in Blue Nation following us right now on the Facebook live feed. Steven Berg saying, "What's up, dude? I haven't seen you in a while." David, what's happening? Jamal saying hola. Lalo saying hola. Fernando Silva watching from Connecticut. What's up? Felix, you're from the BX. And my mom's in the broadcast. Hey, Mom, what's up? Hey, guys, if you're watching, and Ronald and Roger, everybody's commenting now. Everybody getting on the action. Drop the comments.
The gang's all here.
The gang's all here. Put those comments in. Let us know what you thought about the game from Saturday night, because that's what we're going to start with for sure. And dude, before we do that, I do have to say, so Saturday, I could not go to the match. I had a wedding to go to. A friend of mine got married. He had gotten married in Jamaica, and he had like a small like wedding barbecue backyard wedding thing on Saturday.
Yeah, okay.
And it was early during the day, and I went to that. We dropped off my son at my parents' house. It was right around the corner, oddly enough. So we go to pick him up. It's about 7 o'clock. We go to pick up my son, and I just sit and park my butt at my parents' couch, and I watch the first half at my parents' house. Right? I leave my parents' house at halftime. I said, Kara, get the car ready, because in 5 minutes after stoppage time, we're getting in the car, we're going home, we're going to watch the second half. I watched the second half at home. So I had two different viewing experiences of what felt like two completely different games.
I think the moral of this story is you can no longer watch games at your parents' house.
No, not allowed. Not allowed to happen.
Just don't do it. Just don't do it.
I don't think I've cursed more in front of my parents than I did in that first half. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. I think people in my building must they know, oh, that's the guy that curses a lot.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Start dropping the comments if you're watching on the Facebook live feed, and if you're listening on the pod, we appreciate it. Dude, let's break this game down here, because there's a lot going on.
Oh, yeah.
There was a lot that happened. I mean, number one, you have a 6-goal game, number one, so there's plenty to talk about there. That's for damn sure.
Yep.
You've got some lineup things to talk about. We've got Hawaiian shirts apparently to talk about.
Yeah.
The pineapples are back. But the first thing I want to point out is that we are now, NYCFC is now officially the only team in MLS that only has one loss on the season. Boom!
Impressive. It is impressive. It's funny how, like we were talking about, it's funny how a couple of wins thrown into this mix of the season so far gives you a totally, completely different outlook on what's happening. You could, with all the draws in the beginning, the glass kind of looks half empty with the one loss. Like, yeah, it's one loss, but you've got a lot of draws and not a lot of wins. Now the wins are starting to come. The losses have been at bay, and the draws are kind of mixed in there. All of a sudden, the glass is kind of filling up a little bit. See, look at this glass. This glass used to be half empty.
And it used to be wine.
It's half full. I'm still waiting for Jesus to come.
Unbelievable. Well, I don't think Jesus is turning anything into anything at this point.
No.
He might be turning cold seats into warm seats. That's about it, dude. But anyway, yeah, look, NYC started off in what is said here, at least at MLSsoccer.com, as a 5-4-1 where you had Morales, Parks, Matriza, and Ishmael Tajiri-Shradi in the midfield, and Alex Ring kind of as that central defender, kind of sweeper, number 6. I don't know what you want to call it. Very strange.
He's the let's call him the CCB, the central center back.
The central center back, the CMCB. the CMCB.
Going on there.
So look, the first half, dude, was terrible. I mean, I texted you. I was like, "What happened here? Like, this is bad." Like, they looked tired. They looked lethargic. They looked late to the ball. Passes weren't coming together. It was just garbage. They were just letting Philly kind of just do whatever the hell they wanted.
Yeah, I agree. I think they kind of looked like they weren't. They didn't look comfortable. They didn't look comfortable in those positions. Not like they haven't played there before, but they just did not look comfortable. Giving away a lot of space, more space than we're used to seeing. Really, any teams really get on us. But still, the ability to stick with it and kind of hold Philly at bay was kind of the positive coming out of that first half, I think. But again, you're watching guys and you're just seeing Philly get so much room, and you could tell by the goal, the first goal that was scored, it was just looked like mismatched central. So I don't really know what was going on there. I mean, again, we're pretty. It's pretty common for a team that has a lot of rest to come out and be a little bit flat, and I think that's partially a product of it. You're missing Hebert, obviously, that's a huge blow. You're missing James Sands, and now you're playing your first league game in what seems like forever. So, it makes a difference. But I mean, when you're talking about this game, I mean, you got a tale of two halves that are just completely different.
Completely different. You're down 2-1 at the half, and you come back and win the game 4-2.
Yeah.
I mean, just incredible. Now, listen, we got to talk about the goals here because the first goal that came pretty early on from Fafa Picot was an absolute beauty of a goal. Like, couldn't even get too mad at that. The only thing I can get mad of is that cross actually wound up getting to him. It was a beautiful ball, but the turn that he had and the touch was absolutely incredible. You got to hand it to Picot on that one.
Yeah. Again, that's a product of you're giving the guys a little bit too much space. And good players like Picot, that's what happens. You give people an opportunity and they're going to capitalize. So it looked a little worse than it was. Like, it looked more of us giving one away than them kind of earning it because of the way the ball got to him and the amount of space he had, and Chanot kind of giving him a little bit of room. But again, you got to give credit where credit is due, and that's a very difficult thing to do if you've never done it. Trying to turn that much and putting the ball on frame.
Just being able to bring it down. Just being able to bring that ball down, because that ball came in, it looked like almost face height.
Yeah.
And to be able to bring that down and then turn on it, again, David is saying that it was really poor defending, and Stuver was upset about it, but there was nothing he could do about it. I mean, I don't think anybody could expect that kind of a turn from that kind of a cross in the way that ball came down. He did a phenomenal job bringing it down. He buried it in the far corner, which is not what you're expecting at that point. At that point, when you're making that turn, you're pretty much just hoping it goes on frame. But getting it to that far post in the lower corner, that's it's unstoppable pretty much. So again, partially poor defending on our part, but still nonetheless a good finish. Credit to Picot on that one. And again, we're talking about Philadelphia Union here, who are the first place in the East. This is technically right now on points, the better team in the East, but we have a ton of games in hand. And a couple teams do, actually. It's not just us. So, moving on here. We kind of answered back a little bit. Well, not really answered back, but attempted to answer back at least, because the keeper for Philadelphia's keeper, and I'm trying to pick up the lineup because it wasn't Andre Blake.
Freeze.
But yes,
Matt Freeze
made a save off. Well, not he didn't make a save. He made a save on Tinnerholm that was almost deflected in, but the goal line clearance was spectacular. Like that one.
That was Jack Elliott.
It was, yeah.
Goal line clearance,
dude.
Yeah.
Holy crap! I mean, it was last ditch effort. Incredible. I mean, listen. I just have to say, Tinnerholm dribbled around everybody to make that chance out of nothing. And Philadelphia said no.
Yeah, and again, Tinnerholm was pretty well matched by Wagner for a lot of the game. You can see a lot of the balls just out of his reach. Wagner had a little bit of pace on him, but Tinnerholm still managed to get around there, which was fantastic. And just how a lot of offensive players can find themselves in the right place at the right time to get those tap-in goals or get that little finishing touch. Defenders can do the same thing and save you goals. So that ball goes in. That game is completely different. I mean, top to bottom. So a great play. Again, the ball didn't have a lot of pace on it. If it had a little more pace, I think that's a much more difficult play. But Elliott,
but when it makes a deflection off your keeper like that, and you don't know which direction, it could pick up speed, it could pick up spin. It's like
you just got to. That's good defensive positioning right there.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, really, and that's when the game kind of like picked up and got more exciting because you started seeing more goal scoring chances from that point.
A little bit for sure. And then, a few minutes later, Taty wins what is the first of what, in my opinion, is a soft PK, but a PK was called nonetheless, which Maxey converted, which, again, I was also nervous about because I think we all were, which gave NYCFC the goal to tie up the game at 1-1. We're going to definitely talk a little bit more about Taty Castellanos probably when we talk about the second half, but he made a great run. I mean, you got to hand it to him, just breaking away like that.
You can't discount the pass from Maxey because
no.
Ridiculous. Just the ability to drop the ball right in front. Right now, Maxey looks like he's throwing the ball with his hands.
It's disgusting.
Like he's just dropping them right where they need to be. It's fantastic. I mean, he's really got. I think in the month of June, he's got more goals and assists. He's by like 4.
I believe he now leads the league in assists, and I'll confirm that while you're finishing up your point.
Yeah, I mean, just unbelievable from him. I mean, I think it goes without saying this guy is another candidate for MVP.
Maxey does lead the league in assists right now with 11. Diego Valeri right behind him with 10.
Yeah, it's
incredible, absolutely incredible,
unreal, absolutely unreal.
My only downside to Maxey is that sometimes he slows the game down a little bit too much for me. Dome wants quick 1-2 touch passing, and I think maybe it's several players on the squad do this, but they just take too much time on the ball. And I maybe because I look at him under a microscope because of who he is, that when he does it, it frustrates me.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
But then he makes up for it by converting 2 PKs and picking up 2 assists. So this is why you can't be too hard on the guy. But that's my one little jab. You know what I mean?
I think he's had more games this season where he's been on than when he's been off.
Yeah.
And listen, he's had games where he's been off, and when he is off, it's
the whole team's off, and that's a tough thing to.
Sure, it's tough being that guy.
Right.
But when you have 3 or 4 of that guy, which it looks like we're starting to grow here, we're starting to get a couple more guys that are being those guys. You end up with a solid squad that the next guy steps in and can fill in. So, but I mean, he's just having a fantastic run of it right now. He's red hot for me.
Yeah, incredible, absolutely incredible. I mean, just definitely, like you said, definitely MVP status. Although you look at a guy like Carlos Vela who's murdering it still.
Well, he's our MVP. He's my MVP.
All right. That's all right.
He's a Dudes in Blue MVP. For now.
Save it for the duties. 30th minute, Philly, though. My word. What a goal by, I had to write this out phonetically, Kasper Przybyłko.
I would have said Przybyłko. Przybyłko.
Sergeant Bilko.
Great movie. Steve Martin vehicle. Very nice.
Okay. Let me tell you. That was ridiculous. First of all, Ilsinho driving down the line and literally just hugging the end line there and whipping that ball in. Then it takes a deflection or a pass, I guess you can call it. But, dude, striking it like that,
just
My
issue
God.
there. My issue there is that you've got three guys that watched the ball just go right by. Nobody got in the way.
And one of
Nobody
them was
tried to
Brad
get in
Stuver.
the way. It was just that ball had, and from where from where I sit, you've got a clear line right there, and there was not one person in the way of that shot. With
Laser.
that many guys in the box and just that much time to happen, that ball was up there. Somebody's got to get in the way. And again, somebody gets in the way, it deflects and goes in. It happens, but this was just that ball looked like it had eyes. It was a seeing eye goal, if you will.
Dirty. Absolutely dirty.
Yeah,
And you
great
really,
shots.
again, this is another one of those goals where you could get upset at your defense for not shutting them down and not clearing the ball when you have an opportunity to. But then
But you
again,
still got to give credit. You
you
still
got
got
to
to
give a lot of
credit.
credit for that
The
finish,
finish
dude.
has
When you're
to,
striking it on the half volley like that, or the full volley even, that is hard to put in the net, and not only to put on target, but man, to bury it past the keeper. It was absolutely incredible, incredible. But then it got kind of quiet until the second half, where all hell broke loose, essentially, for
Yeah.
NYCFC. The dam broke, and they pretty much took the Bronx by storm in the second half.
Yeah.
It started with another PK off of Taty's phenomenal acting skills. I mean, let's call it what it is, right? Bedoya, gets in his face. Looks like he was going shoulder to shoulder, but it looks like he gets him more like in the neck face area than anywhere else. So,
Yeah. I think if Bedoya takes a
Taty
different
plays
approach
it up,
there,
though.
yeah, he does. He does. And again, it's not like he's the only person that does it. Every single player has their opportunity and either milks the clock or falls near the box or goes down easy. Um, this, I think, if Bedoya makes a little bit better of a move positionally, where he kind of goes more for the ball than trying to get in front of Taty, I think there he's a little bit safer. I think Taty just opened up at the right time, and it definitely wasn't shoulder to shoulder. It's definitely shoulder into chest, and at that point, you're going to get called. But yeah, the acting skills for me, honestly. I listen. Sports gamesmanship, it happens, but you hate to see it happen too often because what does it lead to? First of all, it leads to the fact that if people rewatch this game and refs rewatch this game and see this dude's not getting another call the rest of the season.
Yeah.
If you become a habitual diver,
You don't want to be known for it.
or not, you don't want to be known for that. You've really got to know when to do it and know when not to do it, and you have to know how much. And for me, I think Taty was a little over the top, albeit I can't get too mad because we've been on the end of this plenty of times with different calls over the last couple of years. So,
Sure.
I've read it somewhere today. Sometimes it's your turn to benefit from it. So this game, it was our turn. Hopefully we don't have to worry about it again, and then we grow from it. But
The soccer gods giveth, and the soccer gods taketh away.
it's the way, for sure.
It's
For
just
sure.
the way it goes.
So
Amanda on Facebook here is saying that Philly played dirty all game. We had 2 yellow cards early in the game, so the ref wasn't really biased. As a matter of fact, Philly earns, let's see, 1, 2, 3,
quite a
4,
few yellow cards.
5 yellow cards. I mean, but we did earn 2 in the first half. But yes, 5 yellow cards for Philly. So they're playing pretty physical. I think especially in the second half because we were just kind of sticking it to them and we kind of took the upper hand. They really didn't know what else to do other than just keep fouling us,
Yeah, they definitely were rough. That game got very chippy from the second half on. I was with my dad, like, the
Lalo
second half is going to be rough.
on Facebook says, "I wonder what you guys would be really saying if Taty was a player on the opposing team. Probably the same thing." Because again, I'm not crazy about the theatrics, and I'm not just picking on Taty here. I'm just picking on soccer players in general who use their acting skills to win themselves calls. I'm not a fan of that, and that's honestly what I think a lot of Americans have an issue with with the sport. Our players going down too easy and the theatrics, and Neymar certainly on the global stage is known for that, and plenty of soccer players are to do that. As a fan, when it's in your favor, you're extremely happy, and when it works against you, you're pissed off. So this is one of those games where again, I'm not a huge fan of it, but it worked.
Listen, by no means do I sit here and I very seldom defend this team when they don't deserve it. I literally just said, don't like the acting. I know it's part of it and it happens. And honestly, I prefer it be a little toned down, but it happens. And if he was on the other team, yeah, I'd be a little more pissed off because we're on the receiving, on the poor end of it. But I'm not going to bury the guy because the guy really off the ball most of the game made a lot of runs. He still scored 2 really good goals after that. So, it's not like the guy just did that and then didn't play well the rest of the game. He still played fairly well. I just prefer that he don't. Keep the acting at a minimum and just keep your feet moving. And if you got tripped up, you got tripped up. Otherwise, try to focus on getting the ball in the net. But I'm not going to kill the guy.
He did, which is what we got to move on to talk about because, dude, he scored 2 fantastic goals. Yeah. The first one, Keaton Parks to Maxey to Taty. And Taty from the top of the box, dude. With a
sweep of a shot.
How the hell did he find the bottom corner on that goal? My word.
The swing of the shot and the speed of the pass, just everything meant up to be perfectly, and that ball had no place else to go but that bottom corner. A little surprising too, because you see guys it was pretty bunched up in the middle of the field there.
Got through everybody.
And for me personally, that's on the opposite end of the field, so it's a little more difficult to see. But you look up at the screen and you're just like, I don't even know how that went in. And then you see the replays and you see everything was perfectly timed, and it just happened to be a great timing play where everything kind of lined up for Taty, and he buries it, which is great for us because at that point you kind of thought the second half might have been a little bit more like the first half, we're going to go back and forth and the game's going to end up in a draw again. That was kind of the feeling. And then all of a sudden you get something like that and it kind of sparks. So,
yep. Yeah, it was fantastic. Just real quick on a side note here, dude, before this gets buried in the comments, JKE Rhino on Facebook says, I just want to say I wore my 2019 home kicks and it was a hit. Thank you so much. Thank you for wearing our shoes to the match. We appreciate it. And the shoes are available at the Dudes in Blue shop. So go to dudesandblue.com and check them out. That was a shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
Shameless
okay,
self-promotion. But not really self-promotion because JKE Rhino on Facebook totally brought it up. I didn't bring it up. Just go look at the comments if you don't believe me. If you're listening on the pod, I didn't bring this up. Go ask JKE Rhino why he's bringing stuff up like that.
Why are you doing it? Why?
Unbelievable. So moving on there, right? So Taty buries that beautiful goal, right? And then a few minutes later, another fantastic Taty assist on Maxey assist on a beautiful Taty goal inside the box this time. Absolutely amazing.
This one.
The pass was probably the most important piece of this goal because, man, did he put that on a dime.
The touch from both players that were involved was just absolutely unreal. Just a little ball over the top, and Taty being able to navigate and find space, really special, and popped the ball right over the keeper. This was a game, I'm going to say, we hadn't seen too many games like this where you're coming from behind and you look kind of overworked and overmatched for a good chunk of the game, and all of a sudden you can come back and win in a kind of dominating fashion, in my opinion, from the second half. It's a character win. It's a huge character win, and it's games like this that really propel teams forward when it comes to stringing together 3, 4, 5 wins in a row.
That's it. Now, look, I don't think that's necessarily going to be an easy feat by any stretch of the imagination.
No. But
because of the lineup that we have coming up.
Yeah.
But again, it's a springboard. You have 2 Open Cup wins to propel you forward, and this was a very similar lineup from the Open Cup match last week against DC United, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So, again, not really not really that disappointing. To be honest.
I think we're unbeaten in 13 games in all competitions in the last 13 games.
It's pretty crazy.
It's a hell of a run. It's a hell of a run, especially when you think back at where the team was in the beginning of the season and how much stutter stepping we were doing in terms of standings and draws and trying to get our first win. It's looked like completely different. So,
but the thing that's, again, it still feels weird to me. And now it's starting to be a little bit better because you're starting to realize that the distance between us and first place is closer than we think it is because of the games that we have in hand if we're able to capitalize and get the results that we need to get. So for me, like it's definitely positive. I want to see this again. We talk about this every damn summer, dude. It happens every freaking year. All right? Where in August, September, where if you think this stretch of games that we have coming up is big, go look at August into September, where you've got like 14 games played. It's like a stupid number of games played in like 2 months. That's what I'm concerned about. So this little stretch that we have right here will be a good indicator of how that happens towards the end of the season, as long as everybody can stay healthy, because that's one thing that kind of seems to keep biting us in the ass.
Yeah, there's that, and then there's the fact that we've had the past couple seasons, we've had fantastic months of June and July, and all of a sudden come August and September, and we can't buy a win.
Terrible.
I'm curious to see if this is the season where we can kind of break that habit of kind of sliding downward into the playoffs rather than kind of sitting on top or fighting our way to a higher seed. But again, I think now that the games are becoming more consistent and more frequent, I think it's a little easier to get involved. It's a little more fresh. Again, when you have a game on Wednesday and you don't play on the weekend, come Monday's show, there's not too much that you can bring up that hasn't already been spoken about in the news, in the media, through Twitter, through Facebook. You discussing it with your friends, your family. It's difficult. When you get a game on a Saturday and then a Wednesday and another one on Sunday, you come back Monday, you got plenty to go. Then you keep rolling. So now that it's going to keep rolling, I think the weirdness feeling of the season where it's stop and go and all the draws, I think now that's kind of going to go the wayside. And now you'll see a much more consistent interest, and I think you're going to see a lot more people show up over the summer for sure. I mean, you had a pretty good turnout Saturday night. I mean, numbers were something like 24 and change,
yeah.
It didn't look that way in the first half, and I looked around and I said, it's really kind of empty. And then I looked around again, end of the first half, beginning of the second half, and it filled in pretty well. Actually, our side of the field behind the net on the first baseline was pretty packed, which it usually isn't. Our section, 109, is usually has a bunch of empty rows. There really weren't that many empty seats, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
The only time I really see empty seats are on the far side of the third baseline, and I think that's just chalk up to the fact that you're so far away from the field. I think most people, when they sit, you're either going to start sitting in the corners and behind the nets, and then for me, the bread and butter seats are really the right field bleachers because you get the equidistant view, the left to right, where you can kind of watch the whole game and see everything develop. Where if you're on either end, you're kind of lost you're not lost, but it's a little bit more difficult to see when the game's at the far end, the action's at the far end. So, but again, it looks like if you can get games like that, it's just great for the team, and again, you just got to keep it rolling here. Just keep rolling, keep doing what works, and keep the work ethic going, and everybody keeps, be ready to play when called upon, pretty much, because
we're gonna need some rotation.
With this many games in this short period of time, it's gonna be difficult, and I don't think you're not gonna be seeing the same team fielded consecutively game after game, because it's going to be too much.
Nope, not going to happen. Guys, start putting in the comment section if you're watching on Facebook Live. Let us know who Dude of the Week was this week. I'm going to throw 2 names into the ring here, and they're going to duke it out.
They're going to fight to the death.
They're going to fight. They're going to play this the old Navy way. The first guy to die loses. Listen, I'm going to throw Taty's name in the ring, and I'm going to throw Maxi's name in the ring. Taty for winning 2 penalty kicks and converting 2 chances for beautiful goals. And then Maxi for scoring 2 goals and picking up 2 assists. Your choice.
Yeah. Talk amongst yourselves. It's really you get both guys pretty much had a hand in every goal scored. I think for me, you kind of come to expect it from Maxi a little bit. Again, team MVP last year. Know he's capable of doing things like this. And at the same time, I mean, Taty's really played well since away at Minnesota. What, April 13th? Even if he doesn't score or doesn't find the score sheet somehow, he still managed to put in a great amount of work off the ball, on the ball, making creating chances, making space, making great runs. To be honest with you, I know there was a couple of games right after that Minnesota game where you could see he was making the runs and he was just a hair off where the pass might have been a little too far or the shot was a little too wide, but you could see him kind of sticking with it. And now you got a guy whose confidence is just brewing. I mean, it's tough. This is a tough decision right here. This is a really tough one. It's almost like you can give it to both of them, and you really, without question, you really could.
Not a bad problem to have, but in the comments here, there's a lot more votes for Taty than there are for Maxi. So we're gonna just,
I think
we're just gonna go with the dudes in Blue Nation here and just give it to Taty for. I mean, listen, like you said, you could have given it to either of them, but Taty had a hell of a game, man. I mean, he freaking ran his ass off. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, and making team of the week nonetheless.
Oh, and there's that, making MLS team of the week. That helps propel him into the dude of the week status there. Also, a nominee for the best actor award for this week as well, which I think he took that one home too.
He's up for a Tony.
He's up for a Taty. Unbelievable. Dude, before we move away from NYCFC here, the one last thing I want to touch on is not necessarily a positive thing, because, you know, why would I bring up something positive, right?
No.
It's honestly, it's Alexandra Matrica. I am really having a tough time latching on to this player for a number of reasons. Number one,
9 million reasons.
9 million reasons, dude. He doesn't look like a $9 million player in this league. He holds on to the ball way too much. And look, he's been here now for what now? We've been playing for 4 months now. You got to get used to the league, right? By now.
Yeah.
You got to get used to your teammates. It's not like we had any crazy signings. We got Gary Tree names coming in whenever he decides to show up. And for me, I feel like he's just not delivering what the bill attached to him is.
Yeah, I mean, again, you've got to. There's the injury spell once or twice already that he's had, but for me, he just you see the glimpses of what he can do when he makes the no-look pass and sets up somebody for a goal. And then you see that followed by 3 or 4 instances where he just holds it for too long and he tries to do too much. And again, there are times where he just if the pass doesn't go his way, like Ben Sweat, first half, whips the ball into the box and the ball gets played away by a defender, and Matrica standing right there, and he's got the arms, the old alligator arms. Like, hey, what are you doing right here? You gotta realize that it's not a good look, especially when you constantly do it, and just look down into the dumps and disinterested after the play doesn't go your way. And then I think he gets in his own head sometimes by saying that I'm getting paid this much money, I have to make things happen. I have to make the highlight reel. I have to put Tommy McNamara goals in, from outside the box, which would be fantastic. And he's done it. He's got 4 goals on the season, which is nice. But at the same time, it's coupled with these instances where he walks into three guys and doesn't even look for help, just either gives it up or tries too hard to try to get around them, or just dribbles, and hoping he finds an opening where there isn't one, and he should be laying the ball off to somebody. But again, I'm not sold on him just yet. I would like to see him get more comfortable with the team, with the league. Use his passing ability a lot more because he does have great skill. There's no doubt about it. The dude is talented. But for me, I think he's a little ball hoggish sometimes, and it drives me crazy. Especially because knowing if you get rid of the ball to someone, there's a lot of talent around him on this team that can give him the ball right back in a place where he's open. Nobody's saying that he can't score a goal like Taty scored Saturday.
Dude,
the second goal,
pick up the assists.
Yeah, it's fine.
Because if you're involved in goal, that's all we want. We want the involvement in the goal-scoring opportunities. That's what we want. Not sending a ball 30 yards up in the air into the stands. We just want production. That's it. And again, it's not just the goals. It's also the assist column. It's not just the goals. It's not always about that. You got to be able to create and not by yourself. That's all.
Listen, when you see guys like Anton Tinnerholm bust it down the pitch, down the side, get a pass, cut through defenders, get a shot off, and still get back and play defense, or ball gets by him and it's a good pass, still gets back and plays defense, rather than shrug his shoulders and woe is me because you didn't get me the ball where I wanted it. I think you need that. I think you need more Tinnerholm and less finger pointing for me. So again, I'm not bashing the dude. The dude has scored some big goals for us, and I'm sure he'll score plenty more. But I gotta see a lot less of the they're trying to get a foul and holding the ball too long and trying to score the golazo when really we just need the goal. Just set someone up for a tap in. Pretty or ugly goals count the same. So. Yeah, just hoping to see a lot more from him moving forward.
Yeah. Overall, really positive week for NYCFC. We take on Seattle on Wednesday night, and then Portland on Sunday.
Yeah, let's touch on Seattle real quick before we move on. Sounders are 8-4-5. They snapped a 3-game losing streak, beating Vancouver 1-0 in the Cascadia Cup showdown at CenturyLink on Saturday. Kelvin Leardom scored the lone goal 6 minutes into the second half stoppage, taking a feed from Brad Smith, going far post there. So you got a team that's again, they're not an easy.
We've had pretty good luck against Seattle, though. Fortunately,
we have. It's also poured. That game was fantastic, though.
That was amazing.
But Seattle's current form, you're looking at win, draw, loss, win. And we are, again, one of the hotter teams in the league right now with win, draw, win. So also I'd like to point out that our points per game is now the highest in the East, which is actually friggin' impressive. Pretty friggin' impressive considering where we started this season.
That's right.
Looking forward to Wednesday very, very much, and seeing if we can keep this rolling.
It's gonna be, dude. That's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a tough week. We want the results. That's what we want. And look, this is one of those weeks where I know we bitch and moan about draws, but that will be a result. If we pick up 4 points from the next 2 games, I'm ecstatic. I am totally ecstatic. Yeah, 2 points I'm not happy with, but 4 we need. Minimally 4.
Yeah, I would love. I think 4 is realistic for keeping the momentum going. For sure. I like that a lot.
You got to do it. And I'm gonna quote my friend Ian Joy on, you got to score goals, Joe. You got to score goals.
That's actually pretty good. That's actually pretty freaking good.
That's what he says. If you want to win games, Joe, you've got to score goals. And New York City FC, they are scoring goals.
Yeah, dude, that's actually pretty freaky.
Not bad?
Very nice.
Not bad. Yeah, how did I do, guys, in the comments? Let me know if that sounded anything remotely like Ian Joy, because I've been working on it.
It's like Ian meets Shrek.
Don't care.
Listen, shout out to the guys the guys in 234 for another great Hawaiian shirt night. I guess like a little cult like thing. Just got a following, and all of a sudden I know everyone was heavy on Twitter pushing the team to make it like an official thing, and all of a sudden they come out with that aloha graphic where the players are wearing the Hawaiian shirts, and I just think everyone took it and ran with it and had a great time. It's little things like that make this club really, really cool. Yeah, absolutely. And I think we either need a lot more of those or we need to have it officially every year because it's awesome. And thumbs up to Joe Tollison and Ian Joy for actually rocking the Hawaiian shirts during the broadcast, and Ian for pulling off the tie with it. I mean, that's like
Class.
It's class and party. I mean, that's party and class.
It's like the modern day mullet.
That's it. It's ridiculous. So awesome. So kudos to you guys. Very good round of applause there.
Fun stuff. Listen, dude, before we wrap up the show, let's chat a little bit of other stuff real quick. So, U.S. men's national team took on Curacao last night, beat them 1-0. Let us know in the comments what you thought of this game, because let me tell you something, dude. Not fun. Not a fun game. They scored one absolutely brilliant goal on an incredible cross from Christian Pulisic to Weston McKennie at the back post, who headed it in. But you expect that kind of a cross and availability to end up in the back of the net, and to not be able to pick up anything else. I mean, Jazzy Zardes, for me, he's not the number 9 for the U.S. men's national team. Michael Bradley is going to be 52 by the time the next World Cup comes around. Come on, man. I mean, it's just, you can't. Christian Pulisic is not the answer to this. He's not the only answer to this. Tyler Adams is not the only answer to this. My thing, as always, comes down to skill. There's no 1-2 touch passing. They slow the ball down. They give the ball away too much. They're not making passes that break defensive lines. They need to play beautiful soccer, and we are not seeing it. And in CONCACAF of all freaking places. Jesus.
Yeah, I think Greg Berhalter said he likes the tap-in goals because that means his team was doing their job, playing the way that they're supposed to be playing. And that's great and all, but I mean, the possession was really not there for them last night. Aside from the one goal, it was just a really boring match to watch. I think Josie Altidore kind of earned himself more of a spot in that game than Zardes did. Again, it's not going to be when you don't have the skill. And some of our guys do have the skill, but you've got to have the work ethic to go along with it, and you got to have all these pieces that move well together. And I just feel like there's not that cohesion that other teams have that with lesser can do more. Like, you got to give credit to Curacao that they stifled a team that's better than them, and it's just going to be interesting to see how the game against Jamaica plays out, because we know
always a fun game though.
There. Always a fun game, absolutely. So that one I'm looking forward to, but just got to have a little more passion.
Yeah, it's just is what it is. Hey, Felix is saying that Antonino's fitted is sick.
So listen, I'm gonna disappoint a lot of people, and I've disappointed myself because I've purchased a snapback.
Oh my god!
I did it.
Oh my god!
Listen.
Oh my god!
The hat is.
Oh my god!
The hat is too dope not to wear. Here, do you want to see the reason why I don't wear snapback? Because I look bald. Everyone looks cool with a little bit of hair coming out. It looks nice.
Oh my god!
Wear like this. Like, I gotta pull this down and no, this does not look cool. This is not appealing. This scares me. So I'm just, but the hat was really awesome. For 4th of July, you got a rep. So it's really, really nice hat though. It's really pretty good quality. I mean, New Era is always fantastic.
You had to turn down the light a little bit because you were blinding me with that reflection coming off of that NYCFC crest.
Yeah, no. Actually,
Lightning McQueen over there.
Ka-chow.
Wow.
I really don't. If you know me, you know how much I hate snapbacks. But this one kind of grew on me. I've been had my eye on it for the last couple games, and I was like, you know what, this is a good week to get this. I probably won't buy another one ever again. So
there you go. That'll be the first and only.
That's it.
U.S. England semifinals of the Women's World Cup, and then Netherlands Sweden. So we could possibly see a U.S. Sweden final, which would be sick.
Yeah,
I was kind of pulling for a U.S. versus Italy final, and the Azzurri got knocked out by the Dutch. And look, Netherlands, good team, man. All across the board, the men's and the women's, they are doing things that are unprecedented for that nation. It's just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, they're a very, very good team.
Good footballing nation is what it's really becoming. It's amazing.
Very much so. And I love the orange. The orange is fantastic.
And then they got that.
You gotta go with it.
And they got that. Yeah, it's going to be so USA England tomorrow on Tuesday. If you're listening on the pod, it's today or happened yesterday or the other day, depending on when the hell you listen to this. So I'm covering all my bases here. It happened last week. So you know what happened. We don't. We're going to be back here Monday night for episode 160, where we'll be covering the Sounders and Timbers match. That'll be a lot to cover in that episode. Dude, that's pretty much it for this week. We appreciate you guys spending time with us. Smash that like button if you enjoyed the show, and a Facebook review or iTunes review if you listen to us on there is also greatly appreciated. We'll be back. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dudes in Blue is always where you can get a hold of us there. Like I said, Monday night, 8 p.m. on Facebook Live for episode 160. Pod on Tuesday as always. But dude, listen, until then, we got to stay red, white, and blue. Happy 4th of July to everybody.
Stay safe.
And to you, dude.
Yes to you. Everyone with the fireworks, just take it easy. I had a little tip of the cap there. Just be careful. The last thing we want to hear is any sad stories when we come back Monday. So have fun, enjoy the beach or vacation or whatever you're doing, but do so responsibly.
There you go. Have a great 4th, everybody. We'll see you on Monday night. But until then, stay
red,
blue.
White, and blue.